Well, we're off on another adventure to the farm. It's Tuesday morning, it's about 9 o'clock. We've got about a 3.5 hour drive, and then we've got a lot of stuff to sort out for 3 or 4 days. Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the channel. And if you've been following the farm cleanup series, I haven't got anything on eBay this time. I was going to eBay that old timber roller mill. Didn't get round to it. There's too much happening at home. Our bathroom's being renovated and there's lots of other things going on with storage unit clean outs. You've probably seen all that. We have got a scrap metal skip dropped off at the farm, and we will be sorting a lot of scrap around the yard, out of the sheds. We'll be filling the skip. So should be a few days of solid work, and who knows what other exciting things we might find. We'll see you there. Okay guys, I've made it to the farm. Trip went well, and I'm just having a walk around, and this area is cleaned up nicely. My brother's been home a few times and he's helping tidy up around here too, so that's great. And we've got a skip delivered. I can see it over in the yard there, just to the right of that silo. So let's go and have a look at that. It's sure greened up a lot since I was here last, and that was about 5 weeks back. And there has been a bit of rain, and as you can see, it's looking much greener than what it looked like last time I was here. Excuse me, chooks, they're out having a bit of a graze. And we do plan to clean up a lot of this area this week. The weather's supposed to be pretty nice, cool, but no rain. So some of this stuff, I think the old wire and everything, can probably go to the local transfer station. And we might try and give away some of these drums as tree guards or something. But there's a fair bit of heavy scrap steel in there. We'll go through these harrows I will be taking back, or at least any that are okay. I've got a guy that's been buying them off me at $60 each, so that's much better than scrap price. I think I mentioned last time I was taking some of these gates. Let's have a look at this big skip. So yes, that's great. We'll get a lot of stuff in there, and it's nice and long, so we'll be able to cut up any rusty old pipe we don't want. So that's really good. So we can start going through this pile, and the fact that the back door opens is good because we can get that old engine block in there. There's a solid cast iron wheel centre here somewhere that there's no way known we'd lift it over the edge, although we could get Ross to use the tractor, but I reckon we can get it in there. That's great. These trusses haven't been picked up yet. They were supposed to be picked up. I'll have to check on that. What else has been going on here? We've got more tyres to get rid of, and unfortunately that costs us, I don't know what the charge is per tyre, but it does cost a fair bit to dispose of those. There's some more wire that can probably go to the transfer station. Chance to get into the sheds and just pick up any old bits of steel and stuff just to throw in the skip while it's here. And now that it's cool enough, we might start a bit of a bonfire and burn some of those old doors. So we should make a fair bit of progress. I did mention, I think I mentioned at the start of this video, this roller I was going to put on eBay. I haven't got around to doing that yet. We'll have to get that organised at some stage, but it's not really in the road. And a lot of this junk at the back of the shed we should be able to clean out. Some of that, most of that actually could probably go in the skip for scrap metal. So that's great. We'll get paid for that. I think the guy's offering us 150 a tonne, which isn't too bad considering we just have to fill the bin and he takes it away. Looks like Mum and Dad have had a delivery of firewood, which is good. That trailer is sold to a local farmer, so they'll be picked up at some stage. We might have to make some sense out of this pile. We're going to try and sell that old binder, but there's a little bit of junk cluttered around it, of course. And I do want to get this rack sorted out because there's a lot of old rusty bent pipe that can go in the scrap metal skip, and the light pieces of flue up the top and spouting, they can probably just go to the transfer station. So we should be able to clean this whole side up. The yard will look a lot neater. What else have we got in this shed? I don't know, I haven't talked to Mum and Dad yet. They're actually away this afternoon, so I've only just got here. My brother's here, and we hope to have a bit of a working bee. My son's also coming across for a day or two, so not sure what we'll do with anything in here. I don't know if I'll probably put a few things on Facebook Marketplace and try and get it picked up this week. This old stand could probably be useful for someone. But things like the wheelbarrows and the trailers and the mowers, we're not ready to get rid of yet. They're still being useful around here. All right. Now, there was some stuff down near the barn that I think should have been picked up. Let's go and have a look. Okay, not much has happened in here. I've still got to contact that guy to pick up the last of those seats. The wool hasn't been disposed of yet. All those cardboard boxes and a bit of scrap timber can be burnt, so we'll do that this week. It'll at least get something else out of here. And there's not much else left over here other than some of Ross's stuff. He's starting to put some stuff in the barn. So still not quite finished, and there's some other things. The galvanised iron on pallets over there was supposed to be picked up, or I might have to contact the lady that bought those. There's also some fencing wire that should have gone, so I'll have to go back inside and send a few messages. I think that's the first thing to do today. And I might take some pictures of some other stuff that I wanted to get rid of, and I'll get them all listed on Facebook Marketplace this afternoon. And that gives us a few days to hopefully have people come and pick it up. Good morning, guys. It's now Wednesday morning and it's very fresh. It's just before 8 a.m. Everyone's still dozing and having coffee inside. I thought I'd come out and make a bit of a start to warm up. We did a bit yesterday. We got here just after about 2 p.m. yesterday and started loading the skip with some scrap after I did the walk around. And I've started cleaning out some of the sheds, the machinery sheds. So let's go and have a quick look around this morning. How good does this look? It's very fresh. It's about 2 degrees this morning, so it's not quite a frost. We're not quite into frosty weather, although just looking down at the grass, I reckon there's a little bit of ice on them. So yes, it's quite chilly, quite invigorating, and it's going to be a nice day, although I think it's only going to be about 14 degrees, maybe 15 degrees Celsius. But that's all right. When we're working, it will be beautiful. So we aim to get a lot of this area cleaned up today. Steve, my son, is here as well. He's going to lend a hand. We'll probably load the trailer with some just general rubbish. It has to go to the tip, and the local tip is open, I think, tomorrow afternoon. All this light tin and wire will leave in large piles, and Ross is going to pick all that up in the truck, and that will clean up a lot of it. So we did start working away in this corner and sorted out a bit of stuff. I've got some extruded aluminium, some pipe with brass fittings, some copper links, some insulated wire, a bit of cast aluminium, and I'm taking that back to Nagambie because I'll process that and sell that in Melbourne. I don't want to throw that in here and let that go for 150 a tonne. There's also some frames here that I'm going to use for a garden seat, so they're too good to go in the scrap. These pulleys and gears I'll take back to the shop because they all sell for around about $5 each. Sometimes I put a whole lot of them in an old wheelbarrow and wheel them out the front of the shop at $5 a pick. And then people buy them for their garden ornaments. Some guys buy them, they make sculptures out of old bits of metal. So they're pretty popular. And you can see I got the gate completely open on this skip. We managed to get that engine. I think it's an old Holden engine, 6-cylinder. We managed to get that in yesterday and we've started packing it up at the front. Doesn't look like there's much in there yet, but we've got a fair bit of weight, I reckon, already. And we have cleaned up a bit around here. I'll probably put this is a grain cleaner out of the top of an old harvester. We might try and sell that separately. Started unpacking some of these bins. I've cleaned up this area here. This bin, I think, has some electric motors in it, so I'll take them back to Nagambie as well. And the rest of these we'll probably try and empty by hand. We've got enough workers here today, at least until we get the drums down to about half, and then we can trolley them. When I used to pack a lot of drums full of scrap, I'd get about 300 to 350 kilos per drum, so that means 3 drums to a tonne. So there's over 2 tonne just in that little pile. We have another large engine block here. I think this is out of an old truck, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge to get into the skip. And we're making a bit of headway into this pile, and I'm pulling out little bits that I can sell in the shop, as I said. So yeah, I think we're going to get most of this area cleaned up, which is probably the messiest part of the immediate farmyard, which is really good. That means this particular trip will make quite a noticeable difference in getting things neatened up. I've been lining up some timber, some old posts and some really nice timber rails, hardwood rails there, so we can sell them through Facebook as well. They're way too good to go for firewood. And this little shed over the end here, we actually now have completely cleaned out except for some hay bales. So I think Mum wants them for the garden, for the mulch. So we might move them today, and then we can actually completely tick this shed off, which is always nice to do. And I've just started pulling out some stuff along the edge of this wall here. The straight steel posts we'll probably try and sell. There's another old pulley there that I'll take to the shop. So it's just a matter of sorting, and we have piles for everything now, which makes it quite easy, and it's good when there's helpers because at least they can see what we have to do. There's some concrete posts in there, and I have got a pile over in the lane that a guy's coming to get, hopefully the next day or two. Stuff that's only really good for firewood's going in this trailer. So we have somewhere for the firewood, we have somewhere for the steel. There's a bit of rubbish and whatnot at the end of this shed, and there's some coils of pipe here for a garden watering system. I think there's some more over near the house, so we might group all that together and probably just give that away. And the little bits, well, we'll see if anyone wants them, but that will start probably going on the trailer for the rubbish tip tomorrow. I've just put this little cage thing on Facebook for $20. We think it originally was a Coolgardie safe, similar to the other one I took back, if you remember back a few episodes. So I would have had probably a galvanized tin water tank on the top, and it probably would have sat in one and then had hessian draped down the sides for basically a fairly primitive fridge. And then it's been converted in later years into a chicken cage. So it's pretty rough, it needs some work, but it's way too good to scrap or burn. So I just put $20 on that, and hopefully someone can pick that up shortly. It looks like it was definitely a frost this morning. That's ice. And the other thing I've put on Facebook this morning is this old wire spinner, which I think still spins, yep. So it's just for putting a coil of fencing wire on, and when you're feeding it through posts to fence off a paddock, the coil of wire spins evenly, so you can just drag the wire off it without it all tangling. I just put $20 on it. It's been made out of, I'm not sure, bits and pieces, and it's sitting on an old plough disc, so someone should grab that for 20 bucks. Okay, that's enough wandering around. I best get to work. I do have to message the guy that bought this old hay elevator. That was, I think, on our second lot of eBay listings, so that's quite a long time ago, and contact has kind of ceased. So I better get back to him and see if he wants to pick it up. He's already paid for it, but we do want it gone. It's probably the biggest piece of machinery left on the farm, actually, other than the tractors. So I better sort that out this morning. I'm going for another coffee. It's still a bit chilly out here, and I'll get into the jobs very soon. Okay, the sun's going down on a big day. We've burnt a lot of old timber and masonite and painted stuff that's no good. So we've got rid of a lot of rubbish there, including the stuff out of the barn. We've cleaned up through this shed quite substantially. Let's go and have a look. It's been all hands on deck. It's been actually quite a good working bee. My brother's here, my son's here, and his son, so my little grandson, who's just running around wanting to help and not being helpful at all, but you know, they like to be involved. So this is all cleaned out, nothing left in this old horse shed. All the scrap and everything's been cleaned up in here. There's just some hay, which is mulch for the garden. So really good progress in here. Haven't had any takers on this little cage. I did put it on Facebook for $20, no takers as yet. Cleaned along the back wall and made a bit of room around this binder, but we haven't made any decisions on that as yet. We started to get a bit of stuff out of the old shearing shed, and we still haven't tackled that big pile. That's on the cards for tomorrow. And we've still got people running back and forward, delivering stuff, taking stuff to the wood pile. There's some steel posts which I'll sell. We'll add to that shortly. And have a look at this scrap pile over here. It is substantially smaller. This pile is all going to the transfer station. It's just all light wire and tin, but the actual good scrap metal is almost gone. There's still some drums left, which we're going to get the neighbour's loader, Ross's loader, and we'll probably lift them straight into the skip complete. So there's very little left to go here. They're just empty drums, and along this side we have a few more empty drums, and there's stuff I'm taking back to the shop. A few frames, some old wheels, and quite a pile of copper, brass, and bits of aluminium and some wire. And have a look at the skip. It's loading up pretty well. We've got a lot of weight in there. There's been, all basically moved by hand. So it's building up. He reckons he gets about 8 tonne in these skips on average. I reckon we're going to probably be closer to 10 by the time we put the drums in the back and then start filling around them. So yeah, it's been a really successful day. We're all pretty tired and achy, but very happy with the progress. Just walking down to the wood pile now, and I should point out too, our concrete posts got picked up today, so that was nice. $100 in the kitty, and the guy was very happy with those. A little bit more rubbish here to go on the rubbish trailer, and a little bit more light wire to go to the transfer station, and that's going to clean up this area really good. I think there's someone coming to get that bath, that green bath over there on Thursday. More steel posts. I'll have to grab those ones, forgot they were there. The pile of wood, well, I'm going to do some wood saw benching tomorrow morning. I think it's going to be a frosty morning again, so we might wait until the sun comes up a bit, but we'll get the old saw bench going. We'll start to process a lot of this timber here. A lot of it's pretty messy and we could probably burn some of the doors, but a lot of the smaller stuff makes really handy kindling for the wood stove. So we'll bench up a lot of it tomorrow. There's some bigger logs here, and we run the saw bench here from a flat belt off the back of the tractor. So this is the old 1960s Countryman Chamberlain tractor, and there's Steve running around, been doing some deliveries again. So yeah, it's been quite a busy place today, people going everywhere and lots of stuff being done. Give us a wave. No waves. Just a toot. Okay guys, we'll call this episode 15 or 16, I can't remember. We'll call this one finished. I'll start the next episode in the morning where we get some wood cutting happening. We'll finish off rounding up some scrap metal. You can see in the background Ross, the new owner, is doing some spraying. So as I said, there's plenty going on here. Even the sheep behind me are pretty interested to see what's going on. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.